Hi everyone. So today we're going to start a new rock. I have a 1 pound a 1 pound National Geographic barrel ready to start. I don't worry about cleaning these up that much because this was stage 1 before, so I'm putting stage 1 grit in anyways, but that's why it looks dirty. But this is a rock I have never done before, and I may butcher this name, but it's called Dumortierite. It's a really pretty blue stone. I got this rough from Meekos Mine. So I really don't know what I'm going into. I think it's a hard rock, it's around 7 on the Mohs scale, so I don't think it's going to be hard to work with. Let's load up the barrel. I will say the pieces they give are fairly large, so it would probably be better in a bigger barrel than this 1 pounder, but we're going to make do anyway. That looks good. We're about 2/3. Maybe add one more. One little guy. So we're at 2/3. I'm just going to fill with water and 1 tablespoon of 60-90 grit. I'm going to run this for 3 days, and we'll check on it then. One quick update: with harder rocks, I do like to just take a handful of my random cuttings and pilings from other things. This just helps the new rocks, just helps give them something to cut against, something to rub against. Sometimes you get cool little jewelry pieces out of it, but mostly I'm just planning on those getting ground down to nothing. But if we see those at the end of this stage, that's why. One last thing, this is going on my 1 pound hobby National Geographic tumbler. I just go for 3 or 4 days. Usually it's only 3. This one from the factory does not have a speed control, but I do have a video on how I can make a speed control on any of these National Geographic. You can get them pretty much as slow or as fast as you want, but I've got the speed down to the same speed as number 1 on the nicer National Geographic tumblers. But if you're interested in how I do that, go ahead and check out my specific video, on how to slow down the National Geographic tumblers. Sorry, I'm really struggling today. But yeah, we're just going to run this. I'll show you the speed it goes. A lot of people still think this is too fast. I've had really great luck with it. Okay, we're doing our first 3-day check of the Dumortierite. Got kind of a brown slurry. Forgot to turn my water on. Okay, so they're looking pretty good. I don't expect to have any done this time. Still working through the edges here. Got coughing helpers. It's definitely an interesting material. Really deep blue one. Alright, so we'll just look at a couple more. I highly doubt there's anything ready. So we're just going to reload this with 1 more scoop of grit and go for 3 more days. But it's coming along nicely. Alright, it's been 3 more days. See how everything's looking. Alright. So we've got some getting pretty close. I don't know as a whole if this batch is a good batch of Dumortierite. It's cool. Some of it doesn't have as much color like this piece. There's other examples that I've seen. That one's still got some issues on the edges. Camera really doesn't like it. Big piece, looking really cool. It's like a mix of granite and sodalite. Still got lots of issues. That piece is really close, but not quite perfect yet. So I don't expect any of these to be done. I'll go through them. If any are done, I'll come back and show you. But otherwise, we're going to put it on for 3 more days. Thanks. Okay, it's been 3 more days. Here's how we're looking on the slurry. Alright. Well, they're looking cool. It really is an interesting rock. That one's still got a big spot to go. Same with this one. That one's a really pretty color. That one as well. It's really close. That one probably 3 more days will be okay. Same with this piece. Yeah, it might be a little longer. But I'll go through the rest of these. If there's any done, we'll show you. Otherwise, we're just going to reload for 3 more days. Hi everyone, it's been 3 more days. Doing our check. Alright, here's how our rocks are looking. Let's choose a few cool looking ones to look at today. That one's still not quite ready, but it's a really cool rock. Same with this one, we got a spot right here. Almost looks like the ocean and a beach. Same with this piece, needs just a little longer. Now this one might actually be done. Nope, just a little bit more on that end. This one's nice and smooth, but it's getting textured. I wonder if this isn't a very high quality piece. I'll run it at least 1 more time. Still got a crack here. So I'll go through the rest of these. I don't expect any to be done. If there are, as always, I'll come back and show you. Otherwise, we'll reload and see you in 3 days. Here's a quick teaching lesson on one piece. So this all cracked off. You can see some of the shards of it in there, but this was going to just eventually break off and slow us down anyway, so I took a chisel in this crack here and just broke the rest of that off. And then that's going to round out in the ensuing weeks and make a real pretty piece. So just a good example of something that just speeds up the process quite a bit. Okay, it turns out we do have our first 2 pieces done. And done meaning done with stage 1. So these are going to move on. Stage 2, and then we will replace them in the barrel with some new pieces of rough. We'll see you in 3 days. Okay guys, it's actually been 4 days. I got lazy, but we're on our 4-day check here. Looking really pretty. We'll just look at a couple each time now. It just makes the videos a little less boring later on. That one is getting close, but still has some issues. This one's really pretty, but has some big issues. Here's one that looks like it's going to be real close. Really pretty deep blue. Really does remind me of like a satellite view of the ocean. And that one has a little bit of an issue right here, and then it will be ready. But if there aren't any ready, I'll come back and show you. Otherwise, 3 more days. Okay, so it actually ended up being a pretty productive round. Ended up having all these ready to go on. I just dropped one, but this one is really pretty, really deep blue. But we will see you in 3 days after we get this reloaded. All right, 3-day check on the Dumortierite. That's one way to do it. Okay. Some really pretty pieces here. Really like this material. I still have no idea what kind of polish it's going to take, but it looks cool. This one's really close, but not quite done. Another deep, pretty piece. It's still got quite a few little issues, especially on this side. Take a look at this one. Like a really pretty baby blue. And this one, it's got some pitting. So I'm kind of questioning whether or not this one will actually take a good shine. But I don't think that tumbling this any longer is going to make the pitting better. So I am going to move that one on. I'll check the rest off camera. If there's any done, we'll let you know. Otherwise, check back in 3 days. Okay, so we end up having 3 total. The one we showed earlier, another small one just like it, and then another one of these, which I keep saying remind me of satellite views of Earth. They're just really cool. But we'll see you in 3 days. Okay guys, it's been 5 days. I've been a slacker, so it's been 5 days instead of the normal 3 on the Dumortierite. Got a nice thick slurry here. Sorry, I forgot to get the air out of my hose first. As I've said in other videos, this sink is just hooked up to a garden hose and a 5-gallon bucket to catch the water. So that's why it does that. Ooh, these are real pretty. That piece is ready to move on. Another one, real pretty, but not ready yet. That one is ready to go. And this one is close, but no cigar. I'll go through the rest. If there's any more done besides those two, we'll show you all of them. Okay, so we ended up having 4 pieces done. 4 really pretty pieces. So we're going to move these on. We're going to add a couple more pieces because the barrel's not full at all. And then we're going to run for 3 more days. Thanks. Okay, it's been 3 more days on Dumortierite. As always, they look nice and pretty. I'll choose a few here. That one's still got a few marks I'd like to get rid of. A whole bunch on the back here. So we'll keep running it. This one is not as bad, but this one side still needs some work. This one's really pretty, but still needs some work on a couple spots. So I don't expect, based on how much I had done last week, to have any done, but I'm just going to go through them. If there's any done, we'll come and show you. Otherwise, reload for 3 more days. Okay, I was wrong. We ended up having 4 pieces done. This one has some really, really pretty blue. The others are very similar. Kind of a gray blue. Still really cool though. And then just a little tiny guy. Yeah, we're going to reload. See you in 3 more days. Just an update from the start. After adding a little bit this week, I've only got 2 more pieces. So we're coming down the home stretch on the Dumortierite. I will just run what I have until it's all ready to move on to stage 2. And that's how I'll decide when to move on. There's not going to be enough to fill the vibratory tumbler. We're going to have to use a whole lot of ceramics, but that's not a big deal at all. Okay, been 3 more days. Piece is getting really close. We just got a few more little issues on the outside. That one is ready to move on. Look at 2 more. Big one we've been working on for a few weeks. Still got some issues over here. Still got some in here as well. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. Still got an issue right there. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. So I'll go through. If there's more done, we'll show you how much we have at the end. Otherwise, we're just going to reload, run for 3 more days. Okay, so we had 3 pieces done this week. These 2 have got some really pretty blues. And then we used all the rest of our rough. So we're at the end of our 2 pounds here. The barrel is not very full. I'm going to run it this week and just see. We may have to add some ceramics if we have to keep going after this time. But we're just going to run these until everything's ready for stage 2. And then we'll move on to step 2. But we're going to reload. See you in 3 days. Okay guys, it's been 3 more days. And this theoretically could be our very last round of stage 1 on the Dumortierite. This one could be done if it has to be, but I'm going to move it on in case we have to do one more round. Let's check a couple more that are possibly, yeah, there's enough still needs to be done that I'm still just going to move all of these on just so there's something in the barrel. So we're going to move all these on. They're just not quite done. We're going to check in 3 more days, and hopefully that will be the end of this batch, and we'll move on to stage 2. All right, we're doing our 3-day check, which has actually been more than 3 days. But I'm hoping this Dumortierite is completely done today. Spray those a little better. Okay. So this piece feels great and is really pretty. So that one's ready to move on. Same here with this piece. This stuff really does look like a Google Earth view of the ocean. It's really pretty. Look at one more. So I think we're going to be done to move on, but I'll look through the rest, and if anything changes, we'll let you know. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to load the vibratory tumbler for round 2. Okay, so with that, everything was ready to go now. So this is everything from our, I think it was 2 pounds. But we're going to move all this on to the vibratory tumbler. Go ahead. Okay, we're getting ready to start our load of Dumortierite in the vibratory tumbler for stage 2. Load the rock in. It is not even close to enough to fill this barrel, and so we're going to use a whole lot of ceramic media. This tumbler, I always like the bowl almost completely full. And so I like to put it on and just hold it with my hand and let it run for a minute just to get the media mixed in to see how much more we need. You can see that left me a lot more room in this barrel, so I'm just going to add the rest of these ceramic. We are going to do 2 tablespoons of grit, which is 220 silicon carbide. I lied. First, I'm going to fill this up completely to the top and then use the lid to completely drain the water, and that makes sure all the rocks and ceramics are just wet, but there isn't standing water. And then we will load the grit. So I will do that and be right back. Okay, so as you can see, everything's nice and moist now. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of 220 silicon carbide. And we're going to load this on the tumbler. Biggest thing I hate about this tumbler is how long this takes. Okay, so I'm just going to run it for a minute and see if the movement's okay. So everything looks good. The rocks are moving great. So we're just going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to be checking this every 12 hours to see if we need to add any water. And depending on how it goes, either 2 or 3 days in this stage, checking every 12 hours, but we'll update you then. Thanks. Okay everyone, I just want to show you we're at 36 hours here, and the reason I haven't been filming every time is I haven't had to add any water, which is really unusual, and this is still really wet. The process is working still. I just wanted to show you our movement. So everything is still working perfectly. I'm going to run this for 12 more hours, and then tonight we're going to move it on to step 3. Okay guys, it's time to get ready to move on to stage 3. So I have been running this in a bath with just a little bit more water than normal and some dish soap. Run it for about 10-20 minutes. This will just help it be really good to rinse and clean these rocks. And then I'm going to go and clean each one individually and then get ready to reload for stage 3. Okay, so we got everything cleaned up all nicely, hand cleaned each rock, cleaned out all of our ceramics real well. Now we're ready to move on to the 500 stage. So in this stage, I just do 1 tablespoon of the 500. This is aluminum oxide. And then in these later stages, I also do 1 tablespoon of borax. And that is just supposed to help thicken up the slurry a little bit. So I'm just going to run this for a second, make sure it looks okay. Everything's moving great, so we're going to run this stage identical to the last one. It's going to run for 2 days, and then we're going to be checking every 12 hours to see if we need to add water. So we'll update you then. Okay guys, it has been 48 hours. I have not added any water yet. Just wanted to show you how we're moving. It's still moving fine, but it's definitely slowed down. I washed a couple of rocks off, and for reasons I don't really know how to explain, I'm going to run it for 1 more day in this stage. And to do that, I'm just going to add a little bit of water now, just to make this move a little quicker. See if that speeds up. And it did. So I'm going to run this for 24 more hours. Again, I'll check it in another 12 just to make sure we're good. But then we'll give you an update then. Okay, so we are done with step 3. So I've loaded in between the polish stage. I always clean with the sonic cleaner. So it is loaded up here with a little bit of dish soap. Everything's looking pretty good so far. So we're going to run this for 15 minutes on high heat, and then I will show you before we load for polish. Okay guys, we are out of the sonic cleaner and ready to reload in for stage 5. Just want to show you how some of them are going here. I have not dried these, so there is still some water. They're taking a little bit of a shine already, nothing crazy, but they're feeling really smooth. Here's a good looking piece. In fact, they're extremely smooth, which is exactly what you want by this point. You can see in the dry spot, we've got a little bit of shine, but nothing crazy. So, I'm going to reload here. I do have a separate polish barrel that I use, obviously, only for polish, so I don't have to clean it. But in this case, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of aluminum oxide polish and 1 tablespoon of borax. And then I'm going to for sure run this one 3 days and maybe even longer. We'll just see how they're looking after 3 days. But just like normal, we're going to be checking every 12 hours. Okay, here we go. everything was moving perfect. We're gonna run this, like I said, for 3 more days. Thanks. Okay guys, the Dumortierite has just finished polish. I've just finished its 20-minute soap bath with dish soap and a little bit of extra water. Now we're going to move into the house and put it in the sonic cleaner. I usually do about 20 minutes on high heat, and then we'll get them dried and look at the final product. Okay, so we are loaded up with borax and a little bit of dish soap. We're gonna do 20 minutes on high heat. Okay everybody, we ran the last day of the Dumortierite and then got everything cleaned up really good in the sonic cleaner, and let's look at the final results. It's kind of as I suspected as we were running it. This half is really pretty and took a great shine, and the ones that felt really grainy did not take a shine. They're still cool rocks, but you can just see they're just way too textured. Another example right here. So they're still cool. That was pretty much this whole pile. Show you one more. So I wouldn't call them a fail in the sense that it was something that I did, but just the material I received was not very good. But the rest of these, there are some really, really pretty ones. I'll show you some. And I still maintain that these really do look like Google Earth versions of the ocean. Looks like a satellite view. Just really, really pretty. We got some real dark hues. Just gorgeous stuff. I really like the blues mixed with browns. Here's a really light blue. I've never seen or really heard much about this material. I'm glad I got some because it is really pretty. Here's another one that kind of looks like a satellite view of the Pacific. This one had some interesting coloring. Try and just pick a few favorites here. This one's got one side that's really, really pretty. With some real deep colors. Another one. I really like these baby blue ones. This piece has almost no texture. All of them have a little bit of texture remaining, but this one's almost totally smooth. This one's kind of interesting. Almost looks like a blue hued granite. Another really cool piece. So, if you decide to work with this,
plan on about half of it not being used very useful, but the other half turns out really, really pretty. Really happy with it. I love the shape of this piece. It has a really, really nice shine. It's hard to see, but there's a lot of depth in these blues. But overall, I think it was a successful batch. It was well worth the time to run, and thanks so much for watching.